I'm Will, and welcome back to the Book Geek. There is this weird thing going around the internet that I hate YA and that I've done this and that, and I'm like, no, I don't hate YA at all. I think there is some amazing YA. So I decided to pick 5 YA books that I think you all need to try at some point. Some of them are new, some of them are old. They're from the spectrum of the readership of YA that cover every genre that I can think of. It was a very difficult list to compile. It proved more complicated than I thought because there was easily like 30, 40 books that could have easily made this list. But I decided to pick ones that I felt were either very personal or just enjoyed or just fantastic reads that crossed the boundary that an adult could enjoy as well as a young adult. So here they are, 4 YA books you guys need to read today. So, first one's first, and this is a bit of a classic in the YA readership. It started a whole big thing, it started a movement, and actually got a lot of people reading. It's The Hunger Games. Now, yes, I will say this series is flawed, but the first book has a very strong and profound message to it, and actually, despite the pacing issues that the later books have, and this one is no exception to that rule, they are profound. Unlike what came after, this book isn't scared to make the audience go, well, this could happen. You could see this happening. If you've seen Battle Royale, this is a very familiar story. Young people are sent to fight in a post-apocalyptic dystopian America. This book is dark in places. People die. It's brutal. It's honest. And it doesn't talk down to the reader. It's a fantastic read. One that has found its way into my heart many times. The films are good, but the books are just better. I also will say that this prequel to The Hunger Games is coming next year, and I am, for one, very excited about it. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowd. Rainbow Rowd is a writer I couldn't read for the longest time, and then I discovered this novel. And yes, its sister series is also equally as good, but the reason I picked Fangirl was actually the characters. They remind me of so many people I know, especially the main character. She is the image of my best friend in college. Personality, traits, this sort of inner geek that likes to explode in and out every now and just reminds me so much of her. It's also heartfelt and honest and deals with problems that a lot of people face. Again, this is a book that doesn't talk down to the reader, but Rainbow Rowd has this way of writing. I'd recommend any of her books to be put in this list, but I think Fangirl sticks out as probably the most accessible and easiest to read, and also one of the most fun. It deals with problems that we all face, and it deals with them in a really, really good way. Beyond. Now, this is by a debut British writer, and she got in touch with me over this book. Packs far more of a punch, it's far more personal and it's very British, which is refreshing. It's not this sort of very Americanized version of what happens and how things go. It's very relatable, and it's also, again, it doesn't talk down to the audience. It deals with cancer in a very profound and real way, where when I read this, I hadn't long lost a friend to cancer, and it touched so many nerves. Because of it, it just hit those buttons and the struggles that the characters go through dealing with cancer, and not just the person with the cancer, it's the effect the cancer has on people around it. It's one of those books that will make you cry if you're emotional. It's one of those that I could see turned into a brilliant British film. I would love to see this as a great film. This is a fantastic debut, a strong debut, and I've said this before, but I cannot wait for her to publish more. The Selection. Now, this book came as an accidental Kindle purchase. Literally, I pressed the wrong button, and without realising, I bought the whole book instead of reading the preview. And the writer got in touch with me, and I'm very lucky to own a signed copy of this now. The Selection deals with an America that's been cut off by a wall built at both borders. Culturally cut off for a few generations, and how much it changes. It does fall into the YA dystopia subgenre, but like The Hunger Games, this isn't scared to pack punches. This is a slower book. You're not quite the information and the speed of how the story moves and the action isn't as fast, but it's written very differently to that. It's intentionally slow. It pulls you in. The character dialogue is very important, and the characters are fantastically written. Dealing with the fact that of an America that's falling apart. In a weird way, it reminds me of North Korea. That kind of vibe to it. It just hit me on so many levels, and North Korea is a bit of a passion project of mine. The selection is definitely one to pick up. It doesn't hold back, and it doesn't talk down to the reader. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Now, this is a book that is not written like a conventional novel. It's written in the form of letters. This book deals with Charlie, his life, his friends. He's a book that's genuinely about just a nice guy, a sweet guy. Guy that's kind of been through hell. It deals with subject matter in a beautiful way. It deals with real problems that teenagers face. Pregnancy, abuse, drugs, parties, whatever. In a weird way, it deals with a lot of stuff that I remember from being a teenager. And I found this book, I think when I was the right age. I found it when I was about 14 or 15. It rang so true and reflected my experience in such a profound way. It's unusual you have a book that's purely about just a nice person. That's, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. He's a nice guy. The people around him adore him, and everyone around him adores him and cares a lot about him. It's his experience told through his eyes. It's profound and interesting. Are there any books you guys think would make a great top 5 list? If you want me to do any more top 5s, genres of anything, please tell me in the comments below. And as always, I'm gonna say like and subscribe. If you're new to this channel, welcome, and all of my links are in the doobly-doo below. I will see you guys later, and as always,